So today's our topic is what is Python or getting started with Python. Python is a programming language, or you can say a very popular programming language which was developed by Guido Van Rossum in February 1991. He is now 68 years old who developed Python programming language. He is a Dutch programmer. If you want to know more about this person, you can read. Python is a very easy to learn programming language because of its simpler syntax, and it is also a powerful programming language. And it is a high level programming language. We'll discuss what is high level, low level, and middle level programming in our later videos. So let's take the plus points of Python. The first point is Python is easy to use. Python is a very easy to use programming language. It supports object oriented programming, and it is a high level language. What are the meanings of object oriented and high level? We'll discuss it in our later videos. For now, you just have to remember that Python is easy to use, and why it is easy to use because of its object oriented programming and high level programming language. Okay, and now Python is also an expressive language. And why we call Python is an expressive language? Because Python's expresses means it is more capable to expressing the code's purpose rather than other language. It means if you wanna swap two numbers in for example, let's take the example of C++. If you wanna swap the values, you will write something like, so this is the code of C++. Now let me write the code of Python. In Python we write a comma b is equals to 2 comma 3, a comma b is equals to b comma a. So why Python is expressive language? Let's see in C++. This is the code to swap two values. Swap two values. So you can say this is a very complex and difficult to understand code, but here see, a is given 2 and b is given 3, and now a is equals to b, which is 2, and now b equals to a, which is 3. So it's very simple. And now third point is Python is an interpreted language. What does it means? Python is an interpreted language, not a compiled language. What is interpreted and compiled? We'll learn about this in next videos. For now, interpreted means execute the code line by line at a time. Let me write it. In detail, we'll learn about this in our next video. And Python is a completeness. Why we call Python a completeness? Because when you install Python, you will get everything you need to do in a real work. You do not need to download additional libraries. All types of required functionalities available in Python standard library. It means when you download a Python, you will already get libraries which are used to perform basic operations. You don't need to import libraries externally. Point is Python is a cross-platform language. What does it means? It means that Python can run equally well on variety of platforms like Windows, Linux, supercomputers, smartphones, etc. And you can also say that Python is a portable language. And our next point is Python is free and open source. Python is freely available. You do not need to pay any money. You can just go to www.python.org and download Python for free. And what is meaning of open source? Open source means you can easily get the source code of the code. It means you can understand by this product is free. It means you can download any application without need to pay anything. And open source means you can also get the source code of the product, or you can say application. Okay, now come to the last point. A variety of usage or applications of Python programming language. First of all, Python is used for, you can also make web applications, web apps. You can use this in game development. You can use it for database application. For GUI program. Let's see the usage and applications of Python programming language. You can use it for scripting and for creating web application. It means for dynamic web applications. You can use Python for game development. You can also make games with Python. For database applications, you can create an application which are used to store data and some work on some data. You can use Python for GUI programs. It means you can create a graphical user interface programs. And the most important and most popular application of Python is to create an AI. You can create an AI with the help of Python. Let's move to our some negative points of Python programming language. As human, Python is not the perfect programming language. The first point is that the Python is not the fastest programming language, and we'll learn about interpreted and compiled one in our next video. Let's move towards our next point, which is not strong or type binding. Is interpreted, not a very strong one, catching type mismatch issues. For example, if you declare a variable as integer but later store a string value in it, Python wouldn't complain on a pinpointed. We will see this with the help of example when we are learning variables and data types. And also our last point is not easily convertible. This is because most other languages have structured defined syntax. Since most of the programming languages have strong syntax, the translation from Python to another programming language would require the user to carefully examine the Python code and its structure and then implement the same structure into other programming language syntax. That's why it is not easy to convert. So thank you for today. See you in next lecture.